Hello students, a warm welcome to you all to the third and last video of the chapter Transport of Food and Minerals in Plants. Today we will discuss about two different topics. The first is transpiration and the second is importance of minerals. Starting with the first topic, transpiration. First, let me give you a general idea about transpiration. Now students, tell me one thing. Have you ever noticed how the air can seem cooler when you enter a forest or a place where there is a lot of trees? Have you ever noticed it? If yes, have you asked yourself why? Well, we know that humans sweat to cool off their bodies. Humans are not the only living beings with sweat. Trees and plants also sweat to cool themselves, and in that process they even cool the air around us. This process of sweating in plants is called transpiration. Let us have a look at the proper definition. Transpiration is the process of evaporation of water from the aerial parts of plant such as leaves and stems of herbaceous plants. This transpiration occurs through the pores which are present in the leaves. These pores are called stomata. About 97 to 99.5% of water which is absorbed by the roots is lost through transpiration in plants. Here is a diagram to explain the process of transpiration. General process. See, water is absorbed by the roots. Water travels up through the plant through xylem vessels. Then water vapor is lost from the leaf pores. These pores are called stomata. What are stomata? The small openings on the underside of leaves are called stomata. You can also observe this at your homes if you have plants. You can tie up a polythene bag, a plastic bag to one of the leaves and leave it for 4 to 5 hours. After some time you will see the plastic bag has become a bit foggy. This is because of the water vapor which has evaporated in the process of transpiration. Now let us have a look at the factors affecting transpiration. Now there are mainly 4 factors on which the rate or speed of transpiration depends. First is temperature, second is light, third is humidity, and the last one is speed of wind. Coming to temperature. High temperature increases transpiration. That means higher the temperature, the more will be the transpiration. A plant will transpire more at 40 degrees centigrade as compared to 25 degrees centigrade. Okay. Second is light. Now light causes the stomata to open. Thus it is obvious that plants will transpire more during the day than at night, because until and unless the stomata opens, the water cannot evaporate from the leaves. So light plays a very important role at the speed of transpiration. Third is humidity. Now, do you know the meaning of humidity? Well, it is a quantity representing the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. So, higher the humidity, lower is the transpiration. That is, it is indirectly proportional. Higher the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, the lower will be the rate of transpiration. Now, last one is speed of wind. Now, speed of wind is directly proportional to rate of transpiration, just like temperature. The more the speed of wind, the more will be the transpiration. Coming to the importance of transpiration. Now there are a number of ways in which transpiration is helpful for the plants. The first is transpiration builds a suction force called transpirational pull. This force helps the plant or the trees to pull the water and minerals to the top or to the aerial parts. Second is it produces a cooling effect, which I told you earlier. It produces a cooling effect which protects the plant from heat, and in return it also cools the air around the plant. Third is it affects the rate of absorption of water by roots. Now if more the plant loses water due to transpiration, the more will be the absorption of water by the roots. So it is a it has a positive effect on the absorption by roots. That was all about transpiration that you have to learn in this chapter. The next topic is importance of minerals. All living beings, be it animal or plant, require certain inorganic elements for the proper growth and development. Animals or human beings get these elements in the diet, but plants absorb these inorganic elements in the form of minerals from the soil. Now, these inorganic elements can be divided into two parts: essential elements and non-essential elements. Again, essential elements is divided into two parts, that is macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, I'll tell you more about these in detail. Now, there are about 60 different elements which are found in different plants. Now, based on the importance, these elements are divided into essential and non-essential elements. Essential elements. Elements which are absolutely necessary for the growth of the plants are called essential elements. That means without these elements, either the growth will be stunted, or there will be deficiency, or a plant can get a disease because of the deficiency. So these are called essential elements. There are 17 essential elements, and non-essential elements are all the other nutrients except these 17 essential elements are called non-essential elements. That is, they may or they may not have an effect on the growth and development of a plant. Now, depending on the quantity of essential elements required by the plants, it is divided into two categories: macronutrients and micronutrients. Now, macronutrients is required in large quantities. Some of the macronutrients are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, calcium, potassium, and magnesium. These are macronutrients. And micronutrients is required in small quantities by plants. These are also known as trace elements. Some micronutrients are iron, manganese, copper, boron, zinc, molybdenum, chlorine, and nickel. Now, coming to the role of macro and micronutrients. Why is essential elements required by the plants? What role does it play? First is the help in permeability of cell membrane. That is, it helps the cell membrane to become semi-permeable. It maintains the osmotic concentration of the cell sap. Third is it forms components of protoplasm, nucleic acid, cell wall, etc. Which is all these parts are very important parts of the cell. Fourth is it helps in protein synthesis, photosynthesis, and respiration, which are very important functions of the plants. Fifth is opening and closing of stomata, which is required for transpiration. And sixth is helps in growth and reproduction. So, essential elements help in all these functions, and if any of these functions is not carried out properly, the plant's growth and development will get hampered, and it may also develop a disease. With this, we come to the end of this chapter. Watch the videos again. Read the text. I've already sent you the images of the chapter from the book. Get thorough with the chapter. We'll start with the question answers on Monday. And I hope what you know what you need to do these days. You need to stay at home. You need to break the chain to stop spreading this pandemic further. Our frontline workers are working very hard. You need to do your bit, children. And also wash your hands frequently for at least 20 seconds. Stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy.